Cracking, everybody. Buenos dias. Saludos. So I received the video a little while ago. Thanks. We don't eat with blacks. Mexican OG, Mexican OG Mexican admits to why they hate blacks. The Inside Story by Damion Porter. What can I say, man? We've had the discussion. We've time and time the same discussion, the same thing. I don't know nothing because I'm from the Burbank area. My neighbor's from the Burbank area, right? But I don't know nothing. I couldn't possibly know anything about relationships with the blacks, right? Apparently, right? Doesn't matter where else I lived and where else I've been, and it doesn't matter that I went to the county jail. All that, all that apparently doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter that I'm half Pomo Indian, native. They talk about indigenous that I have no idea what I'm talking about. That indigenous people, that blacks are indigenous to this land, to the Americas, and all the evidence proving different doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Okay. Um, Somewhere along the line, they got the line, and let me repeat it again. The line that says, "OG Mexican admits to why they hate blacks." Nowhere in the video did I say I hate blacks, because I don't. I ain't got no problem with them. Everybody lives their life. I wish that we all can coexist with each other, but apparently that sentiment is not returned. It's always an attack, and that FBA guy is always the one initiating it, always wanting to have this racial conflict with raza. He's always talking about raza. It's never about the whites. Apparently, the whites, they talk about they don't like the whites. It's that we as Southerners get along with the whites and white supremacy, and I got accused of having white supremacy ideology. I, it, it just boggles my mind. It's like, okay, anybody been in prison understands that there's sections that the raza and the whites share a side of the day room. Okay, and we can eat with them, we can program with them, no problem. But at times there are wars between the whites and the Southerners. Okay, and then the Pisces are on our side too. On the other side is the blacks and others and the Northerns, right? And I'm sure they all do the same thing together. But now I don't know how the system is. System's completely different now. That's when I was back in the day, right? But see, they said this OG admits to why he hates blacks. Nobody said anything about me hating blacks. Nowhere in that conversation did I say I hated blacks. What I did say is when we don't eat with blacks, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for all these little rules that we have. And it isn't just about blacks. Raza is not allowed to eat with blacks. The reason being it's the less interaction that we have with the blacks, the less chances of somebody or something happening, of violence. See, and everybody talks about gangs. Let's talk about gangs, right? Not every Southerner, not every Mexican or brown man or indigenous, Hapomo, are gang members. That's another thing they do is they throw everything into the mix and they're gang members. But the blacks, it's not the same, right? Apparently, apparently they don't play by any rules as far as like they can eat with anybody, they can do whatever they want. They're not as structured, and that doesn't mean I don't mean that as disrespect, but they're not as structured as they are with the Browns. and let's just say Browns. We're not going to say gang members or Southern, just Browns, because the Paisas follow the same rules that we have, and they're not gang members. The whites follow the same rules that we have, because they're not gang members. Doesn't mean we're gang members. It means that there's less interaction with each other, so we don't fight. Because if anybody has been to LA County Jail when I was there, then you would know the smallest thing would kick it off. But see, there's people that are my age, 58, okay, I'm 58, that would tell you, that were older, even older, will tell you there was a time in LA County Jail when there was very few of us. Very few Paisas, very few Chicanos. And there was constantly barrages of attacks by the blacks in the system. Now, I'm not going to say it's all their fault, because it wasn't. But there was a time that they were the biggest group. And as I was doing time, I start to see a flip. Then it was pretty much Raza pushing the rules, and regulating, and starting riots more, and tripping more. You know what I mean? So it's not equal on either side. It's not just. I'm not gonna never say it was just their fault, and I'm not gonna say it was our fault. It took two to tango, and there's two big groups. So two big groups want to run things. They want to feel like they got power. But if you listen to this video that they made about me, it seems it's all raza. It's all raza. It's nothing to do with. Everybody is innocent as hell except for raza. It's always us that hates everybody and that we push hate and promote hate. You know, they talk about the whites all the time, about us and the whites, right? Having this, what do they call it? White racial ideology, or whatever I don't know how they refer to it. Damion Porter actually said I was part of it, right? The whites and us, we coexist. We're not the same. We're not the same entity, and we don't do the same things, and we don't have these grand fucking rights together where we support each other in riots and stuff. No, it doesn't happen. When Southerners get into it with the blacks, it's the Southerners and the blacks, whether it's the Crips, the Bloods, other, whatever. If it's the Southerners and the others, or the Southerners and the whites, or the Southerners and the Paisas, or it might be the Paisas and the whites, or the Paisas and the blacks. It doesn't matter. It's just a group. Everybody participates. But when you hear these type of videos, it seems like we're just bullying everybody. Now, from my understanding, Damion Porter's been in the system a long time. He's done a lot of time, and he's been to the same places that I've been to. I don't know what kind of time he did. I'm not attacking the man. I got nothing to attack him about. He feels the way he feels. I'm not gonna try to change it. I don't have a problem with the blacks. They're not on my mindset. I don't live in a black community. I live in a mostly Hispanic, or not Hispanic, Raza neighborhood. I live in East LA. I don't live in Burbank. I haven't lived in Burbank in years and years and years. Yes, I picked up my case in Burbank. I was not living in Burbank when I picked up my case. I was living in East LA. My case took place in Burbank, but that's besides the point. But Damion Porter has been in the system. He knows how it works. There's nothing I could tell Damion Porter about the system that he doesn't already know. And if he doesn't want to accept certain aspects of that, that's fine. That might just be my interpretation of it. This other guy, that FBA, all he does is throw little shots here and there as if he really knows. He's probably never been busted. He doesn't act like he's been busted. He doesn't act like he's been in the system or knows anything about the system. Because every time he turns around, everything is racial, right? And he's always complaining about the white man, right? The white man did this, and the white man did that. But you know what? It's the Mexican's fault. So he has this FBA thing going on, right? And all his content is about raza. None of it is about the whites. Now, if you got a gripe with the whites, then why are you always talking about raza? That's never made sense to me. That's why this dude from FBI just like, I'm done. I'm done. You can't talk to an ignorant person and make any kind of sense. No matter how he looks at it, just like he was saying that I hate blacks. I never said that. Damion Porter, I don't know if that came from Damion Porter, the title, or the FBA. It might have came from the FBA, so I'm not accusing Damion Porter of anything. But if Damion Porter did the time that I've done and the time that he's apparently done, then he would know that you're not trying to buck the system. You're not trying to buck the system. We all have somebody to answer to. Okay? Not just me, but other factors have people they have to listen to. Or certain regulations that are they're set there before I got there. Never in that video do I say I hate anybody. Never ever said that. That's not me. I don't have a problem with anybody. As long as they ain't doing something to me, I ain't tripping. And then I see the comments on the video, right? And it's like, some guy says I'm an SNY sympathizer and that I'm no good in the hood. Another guy says that I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Another guy, oh, he lives in Burbank. He don't know. He never been around us. And to me, it's comical. It's like, really? Do I push prison politics out here in the streets? No, I don't. Do I agree with what's happening in prison? No, I don't. I'm one of those people that if you're going to play the game, then you play it all the way. Right? That's the way I look at it. I've always looked at it. If you're going to be in the game, then you play by the rules. But if you're not playing in the games no more, does that still mean you got to follow the rules? When do you step up and say, I'm a man now? I'm not participating in the gang life or the prison life anymore. When is that acceptable to anybody? When does it matter that I don't have a problem with anybody? Why can't I walk around and say, hey, you know what? I want to enjoy being a grandfather. I don't want to take chances in getting busted no more. I will enjoy being a husband. I enjoy having a good life, eating steaks. I'm close to 6 years old, and people still want me to follow their regulations or what they perceive as the regulations because they really don't know. Because a lot of those people in the comments have never been busted, never going to be busted, and all they're doing is sour soldiering. Now, I've seen Damion Porter snap on people for the same kind of thing. I've seen him do it. But when it comes to this kind of situation with the racial thing, all of a sudden it goes out the door. And again, I'm not attacking Damion. Like, he has his right to have his perceptions. But don't put your perceptions on me. It's a shame that we've got to still continue to have this argument. Because I'm not pushing no racial lines with anybody. I'm not out there gang banging or going to beat up somebody working on a vending machine because of the color of their skin. Can you say that? I'm not out there saying, hey, you know what? I think every time I had a confrontation with somebody, some stranger, it was racial. I'm not one of those people that think that. I think personally that a lot of it has to do with my attitude, the way I treat people, the way I look. Yes, I don't have face tattoos. But you could tell my tattoos are gang related. From my neighborhood and the way I lived. If I want to dress a certain way, act a certain way, I'm putting out that perception that that's who I am. so people treat me accordingly. So I don't blame everybody for treating me a certain way on race. That's just me. That's the way I live my life. So with that said, like I said, I'm not trying to argue with any of these guys. I do my thing, play my music, uh, live my life the way I want to. But these videos, they're a joke. If you really want to know what that video, go and look at it by Alex Alonso, Street TV. Go ahead and look at it. Come to your own conclusion. You'll see that I don't say I hate anybody, and I clearly say why we don't eat, or raza, not Mexicans, raza brown people don't eat with blacks. It's because the less interaction we have, the less problems. It's already bad enough that we fight over phones, we fight over toilets, we fight over showers. That's something that in the county that it happened, and it isn't just Mexicans pushing there or raza pushing there or Southsiders pushing. The blacks want their own phone. The blacks want their own shower. They want their own toilet. They want everything just like we do. So they split it up equally so that people can safely get on and do what they got to do without being attacked. I've personally been attacked of being on the phone in the county and in the joint shit. But like I said, it is what you guys believe what you want to believe. I'm just putting it out there so you guys understand where I'm coming from. Whether you believe it or not, that's fine. You don't believe me, that's fine too. It really doesn't matter. I just think it's funny that the FBA keeps on pushing this narrative, trying to get views and subscribers, and with his victim mentality, because that's all it is victim mentality. Things don't go his way, or he can't walk the streets, and he wants to say, oh yeah, well, they stole my culture, they stole everything from me because of the color of my skin. No, I'm sorry, that FBA guy, that's not the truth. The truth is you are probably the most racist person of all of them, because you're always looking for a way to twist it into racism. And when somebody does that, that's all they're doing. They're looking for racism. They're going to find it, because that's all they look forward to. Have a blessed one, you guys. Like I said, I'm done with this. Salud.